Well, welcome back. I'm David Gura. This morning there is a chorus of calls for Robert Mueller's report to be made public, from editorial boards at major newspapers to lawmakers. And I'm going to read from a joint statement now from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. The American people have a right to the truth. The watchword is transparency. Well, here's how the next steps are being described in the New York Times today by Charlie Savage. The makings of an epic constitutional battle over the executive branch's power to keep information secret from Congress started to take shape on Friday. Joining me now is Congressman Pramila Jayapal. She's a Democratic representative from Washington and a member of the House Judiciary Committee. Thank you very much for the time on this Saturday morning. And I want to start with what my colleague Kelly O'Donnell just reported, that there's going to be a phone call at 3 o'clock this afternoon for Democrats to talk about a path forward. What do you expect to hear? What are you going to say on that phone call today?
Well, I think usually those phone calls are just to make sure everybody is in the same place in terms of what we know and what our strategy is. I on the Judiciary Committee and we on the Judiciary Committee have been in very close touch over the last many weeks and months about exactly what is coming forward. We know that, first of all, the most important thing is that the Mueller report needs to be released in its entirety. We understand that there are certain pieces there that may need to only be presented to Congress and not to the public, but really the public has a right to know what is in this report, not just the overall conclusions that Attorney General Barr is talking about, but actually the underlying information. I think second, on the Judiciary Committee, we have always been very clear that the Mueller report is a key part, but only a part of the ongoing investigations that we in the Judiciary Committee have a responsibility to conduct. And that includes into obstruction of justice, into public corruption and abuse of power. So those investigations will continue. And then finally, I think it's really important to just take a moment to reflect on a 22-month investigation that has produced 34 public indictments, including 7 guilty pleas, including 6 of those guilty pleas directly related to top Trump campaign officials committing crimes. And I just think that, you know, we have to be clear about the incredible responsibility we have to our Constitution and to the office of the presidency as we look at all this information and continue our investigations.
You mentioned that strategy, and I wonder how much unanimity there is among Democrats about what that strategy is at this point. What is your goal? Is it to see that report in full? Is it to get Bob Mueller before your committee, before the Judiciary Committee, to testify?
Well, it is absolutely to see the report in full. We need that information. It's important. Bob Mueller is a very credible individual, and he spent a lot of time and came up with a lot of pieces of information that are relevant to our responsibilities on judiciary. I think also, you know, we, as you may know, we launched an investigation, Chairman Nadler and House Democrats, 81 pieces of information that we were seeking. They are pieces of information that have already been provided, say, for example, to the Southern District of New York in other cases that are ongoing. So remember that just because Bob Mueller may not be recommending any indictments, and we don't know that for sure, there are still pieces that he has almost farmed out to other places that we need to get the information on. And we, the Judiciary Committee, need to call forward witnesses so that we can continue our massive investigation into all these different pieces that are related to the Constitution and that really our committee has almost sole jurisdiction over.
I'm glad you took us there, because that's right where I wanted to go. Felix Sater is going to sit down in front of your committee a little bit later this week. He is scheduled to. I know that's been moved at least one time. How does this change, the transmission of this report, change your approach to a hearing, to an interview like that one?
Well, again, you know, the report is going to have very important information. We need to look at that information. It's not sufficient for the Attorney General to say he's going to brief us on the overall conclusions. We need to see the entire thing, because there are pieces within that report that will be relevant to our investigations. And the Justice Department can't have it both ways, or the president can't have it both ways, to say that if it is longstanding policy and we don't agree with this, but if they are claiming that there's longstanding policy that you can't indict a sitting president, but there is information within this that allows us, Congress, to do our job in deciding what role the president has had or what crimes may have been committed, then it is important for us to be able to see all of that information to make the determination one way or another. Very important for the public as well to know what this president's role has been, what potential violations of the Constitution or lack thereof may be here. This is critical to our democracy.
Lastly here, I'm looking at this one-page letter that was sent to the chair of your committee and the ranking member as well from Bill Barr announcing that this had happened. And I just want to get a sense from you, a sense of your estimation, the way that you hold Bill Barr in your estimation at this point in light of this letter, saying that Bob Mueller didn't encounter interference, that he intends to have as much transparency as possible, that he intends to work with Bob Mueller going forward to determine what to release. Give your sense to the American people of how much confidence you have in the Attorney General at this point.
Look, I want to trust that the Attorney General is going to be completely transparent with the American public. There have been statements he has made in the past that make me a little bit nervous about that, but at this point, I am believing that the Attorney General is going to release all of this information and that he is on the side of our Constitution, on the side of the American people, and not displaying undue loyalty towards the president. And Republicans, frankly, have really undermined whatever longstanding precedent there may have been around the release of information to the public, as we saw with Devin Nunes, with 800,000 pages of Hillary Clinton's emails, but also going back to Watergate. There is real precedent for this Attorney General to do exactly what he should do, and that is release this report to Congress and to the American people.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.